Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pokemon Showdown. I was actually initially intending on doing kind of like a final hurrah of Generation 8, as you can see by the background. But Gen 9 is actually out on Showdown, meaning we made a team. So I know nothing of this yet because this is, I guess technically it is Friday, but it is like 2 in the morning. So here's a team of Gen 9 Pokemon. First, before I start, I will be streaming Gen 9 Scarlet and Violet. I actually have to go pick up my copy tomorrow before I go into work. My intention is to stream it Saturday, for starting at about noon to about 4, at about 3:30 Eastern, when I need to go into work after. So that's my intention for like when I start to stream it. Probably be doing the same at on Sunday, and just trying to get as much of it I can get done as soon as I can. And without further ado, here's the team. First up is Orthworm. I noticed one really interesting about this Pokemon is its ability Earth Eater. The Pokemon heals 1/3 of its max HP when hit by ground moves, and it has a ground immunity. That is super important, especially as a Stealth Rock setter, which is what Orthworm pretty much is only going to be good at. That and using Body Press, like the set I have is using. It is Body Press with Spikes, Stealth Rock, and Heavy Slam. You could possibly run like a Coil set with Orthworm and run like Earthquake, Body Press, Iron Head with Coil. But personally myself, you're pretty much going to be wanting to run Stealth Rock on it, and then Spikes if you can get it up afterward. It has an amazing defense stat of 145 that I'm boosting even more with max EVs in our defense with and then max on our HP as well. We're also using an Impish Nature to further boost that defense just a little bit more. Next up, we have Scarlet. Flash Fire is its likely better ability because Weak Armor is a really terrible ability. Running a Swords Dance set with Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, and Bitter Blade, which is a 90 power fire move that recovers 50% of the damage dealt to the user. It is an amazing ability. Also, real quick, Terra type. For Orthworm, it is Dragon. For Scarlet, I'm making it Water. For Orthworm, its real only weaknesses become Fighting and Fire. Dragon type is resists both of those types. So if we do need to terrestrialize in order to ensure that we can set up stuff like Stealth Rock or Spikes, we can terrestrialize and be able to defend against those fighting and fire moves. Same with Scarlet and pretty much all the Pokemon that I picked their Terra type. Well, I picked all their Terra types, but they're all more of a defensive way. Scarlet, I'm making it Terra Water. It resists the Water type, the Ground type, and the Rock type for Water. So it pairs well with the Fire typing. So when we get hit with stuff, either like a ground move or even a water move, we can terrestrialize and counter that out. We went with max attack and special defense with a Adamant Nature. It has a pretty decent special defense stat, so it's nice to be able to bulk that up a little bit more. You could, I've thought about running this with a max speed on that as well instead of special defense, but I feel like being a more defensive Pokemon would probably be better in the Swords Dancing set, since we also have Shadow Sneak just in case. Next up, we have Shan Pao. Uh, this is a broken ability. Sword of Ruin, the defense stat of all other active Pokemon, is reduced by 25%. Pairing that up with a Choice Band and a base 120 attack and a base 135 speed turns Xianpao into such a brute. I'm actually going to change this for Life Orb, especially since Xianpao already doesn't have a great defensive typing, that being Dark and Ice. I did patch this out with Ghost type for our Terra type, because this is our intended Terra user. As you can see with us also using Terra Blast as a move. With Terra terrestrializing into a Ghost type that makes us Dark and Ghost, it will allow us to only be weak to the Fairy type. That being said, we are using Ice Spinner, which ends terrain. This is going to come in handy with a group of Pokemon such as the Iron group, or whatever you would like to call them. Stuff like Iron Bundle, Hands, Jugulus, Moth, Thorns, Treads, and Valiant. As well as like the other side of it. Stuff like Great Tusk. Which, yeah, I know, this sounds so weird, and I'm really excited. Like, this is making me more excited to play Scarlet and Violet. We're going max speed, max attack with a Jolly Nature, just so we can ensure that we can outspeed as much as we can and get as many one-shots as possible with that Life Orb. Next up, we have Tauros, a Paldean Tauros, the water variant. Tauros actually has 3 different variants. He has regular Paldean Tauros, which is a pure fighting type, Paldean Fire, and Paldean Water. I went with Paldean Water, mostly based off of the fact that I prefer the water type. And I also have a pretty decent, like, ground weakness already. I mean, the vast majority of my Pokemon are weak to ground. So to be able to have that resistance would be a lot more helpful than using a fire type. We are using Chudchu as our ability, which if this Pokemon eats a berry, it will consume the berry again at the end of the next turn. This, partnered up with something like Lychee Berry, allows us to get a +2 attack boost only after dropping to quarter HP. You could do stuff like Slackberry, which will double our speed, or you could use something like Citrus Berry and get pretty much all your health back. That being said, the rest of our moves we have Substitute, and so that way we can cut our HP a little bit. Raging Bull, which destroys screens and the type will depend on our form, which in this case it will be a water type move. We also have Earthquake and a move called Trailblaze, which is basically Flame Charge but grass type. We're using Trailblaze to ensure that we can start outspeeding things. We should only be able to need to use Trailblaze one time before we start outspeeding most Pokemon. Although we could always use a second one. We have max speed, max attack with the Jolly Nature, just so we can hopefully ensure as much outspeeding as we can. Our Terra type is Fairy, mostly just to kind of counteract the Fairy type itself. And that's pretty much the only reason for it. Next up we have King Gambit, which is another Pokemon similar to Iron Tusk, but it is, instead of Donphan, it is Bisharp. We are running a Assault Vest with Supreme Overlord, which boosts our attack and special attack by 10% per fainted teammate. King Gambit is intended to be a late game cleaner that is bulky and able to tank hits while also having a massive attack boost. We are using Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Stone Edge, and Kowtow Cleave which is an 85 power dark move that does not check accuracy. Lastly, we got Venomoth. It's the first time Venomoth has been in a regional dex since Fire Red and Leaf Green. Like, that's insane to me. So, you know we have to use it. Leftovers, Tinted Lens, attacks that are not very effective will do double damage with Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, Sludge Bomb, and Terra Blast. Our Venomoth is kind of like our secondary Terra user. Just in case like Sean Pao is like really low on HP, we could always use Venomoth instead. We're using the Steel typing since that it will leave Venomoth with only one weakness, that being Fire, even though it is a 4 times weakness. We should be able to outspeed a lot of things after one Quiver Dance anyway, though. We can do a lot more damage as well with multiple boosts, as well as the Tinted Lens ability giving us an additional attack boost because of the fact that it's doubling the damage that we'll be losing on that not very effective attack. Well, that is the team. As you can see, it's a bit barren in here now. I'm kind of surprised that we don't have Gen 8 stuff still. It's kind of unfortunate, but... Oh, we do, right here. So, I'm going to go straight into OU and see just how it works out. Oh, hey, look at that. We're already in the game. So, he's got an Annihilate, Baxcalibur, Meowscarada, which I'm assuming is the bipedal grass starter, Bombardier, Farigiraffe, and Armarouge. So we're just going to immediately start off with our Stealth Rock user, or Orthworm. Okay, we went down immediately because it is a special attacker, so we do outspeed and we could easily take him out with Sean Pao if we want to. That's what we're going to do. So it is Fire and Psychic. So what we're going to actually do is immediately Terrastalize into a Ghost type and take it out with Terra Blast. So now it's just a matter of what is he bringing in. Meowscarada, which we could either take it out with Ice Spinner or Secret Sword. We're going to take it out with Ice Spinner since we get that same type attack bonus. So my hope is that whatever he brings in, I'm able to take out one hit. So he's bringing in Annihilate. So we can just take it out with Psychic Fangs. We can take it out one hit. So Xian Pao is a little strong. Just a little. As our opponent forfeits and we get the victory. Now we can just quickly go move on to our next opponent. Hopefully this one brings us a little bit more of a challenge. We're going to bring Orthworm in first. He's probably going to bring Orthworm out as well. No, he's going to bring Palafin out. So Palafin's interesting because it does actually have a ability that now it is in hero form, which is a bit weird. So I'm assuming he's going to go for Rapid Spin. And we can switch in to Ceruledge and get off a Swords Dance, and we're going to go down right away. A bit unfortunate, so it's grounded fighting. What this can allow us to do, though, is bring in Xian Pao, the greatest Pokemon in the game, and either go out with Ice Spinner or Psychic Fangs, and we're going to take it in with Ice Spinner. Unfortunately, we don't get the knockout, so we're just going to Ice Spinner it again and take it out. Okay, so he sets up his own. Okay, so we have two shots here. We could either Terrastalize and go for Terra Blast on Slowbro and hope that he doesn't Terrastalize himself. hopefully get the one shot as well. Or we could take the knockout, take the loss. I'm going to Terrastalize, go for Terra Blast. We get the knockout, which is really nice. We're going to go down on our next hit, though. Oh, so just entirely we become a ghost type. Okay, so he brings it Palafin back out. And we're just going to take... Alright, so we use his flip turn for some reason. So now he gets the switch. So Roaring Moon is Dragon and Dark. We unfortunately do not have a fairy move. But what we do have is Orthworm, which we can use to set Stealth Rock back up. And then we can use Body Press. If he doesn't take us out in this hit, we will be able to... Oh, unfortunate. Okay, so we were able to take it out. That was unfortunate that he hit us with Earthquake. Okay, so he brings Palafin back out. Use Spikes. Since we're gonna go down anyway. So we're running low on Pokemon right now. We're gonna bring in Tauros. Use Trailblaze. And then Trailblaze again. Just to ensure that we outspeed anyway. We lost this. Oh, he's probably choiced. So we're going to go into Venomoth. We're going to go for Quiver Dance. And he switches out for some reason. We're going to Bug Buzz, take it out. He's probably going to go back into Ditto. Yeah. So we could either Bug Buzz or we can Sludge Bomb. We're going to Sludge Bomb. It can't poison, unfortunately, but... Okay, so we're going to Sucker Punch since he is stuck into move, and this should hopefully be a victor in our part, and that's unfortunate. I should have just used Sucker Punch. It was definitely a close one. If I used Sucker Punch, we probably would have gotten the knockout. That was entirely my bad. Okay, so 4v6. Again, bring Orthworm out. Just gonna go for Stealth Rock right off the bat. I'm honestly unsure what could come out of this. So we get Stealth Rock up for free. It's Fairy and Fighting. We can either go for Stealth Rock, or we can either go for Spikes or for Heavy Slam. I'm actually going to go for Spikes, since he doesn't appear to have a way to stop it. Okay, so the Drain Punch, a bit unfortunate. However, I don't think he realizes that we have Shanpao. And Shanpao is like the greatest Pokemon ever. As you can see, we can just hit Psychic Fangs and knock it out in one hit. So next up he brings out Roaring Moon. But what he doesn't realize is that we have Shanpao, and Shanpao is just going to take it out with one Sacred Sword. Now, the reality of it is he doesn't realize that it's Shanpao. So what we could just do is Terrastalize and use Terra Blast and take Gold Dingo out with one hit because we're Shanpao. And then here comes back Excalibur, who he doesn't realize is, again, facing Shan Pao, who is just going to get one shot, but we almost one shot him in return. That being said, we get to end the game off using Shadow Sneak and win us the game. Yeah, so I'm just predicting this now. Shan Pao is going to be an Uber. Just saying. So we're going to do one more just to show off just the pure power of Shan Pao. And we actually have someone who is using Shan Pao. The greatest Pokemon ever. Shan Pao. We're still going to start out with Orthworm with our Stealth Rock. Alright, so not what I was expecting. I kind of forgot that's how he works. Cyclizar. Okay, so we are faster than Scarlet, so we could just sit here and set up spikes, go down, and then we can bring out Shan Pao, terrestrialize our ghost type, outspeed and take him out. Oh, he actually survives at 1 HP, I'm assuming with... No, it was just really unlucky. So we're going to go for Ice Spinner. He uses Sacred Sword for some reason. Now we have Shan Pao completely untouched. We can go for Terra Blast to take out... Oh, Flutter Mane's actually faster? So we're bringing King Gambit out now. Scare out the Flutter Mane. But we're going to still use Kowtow's Cleave to take out his Armarouge in one hit. Bit of an unfortunate choice there. Okay, so he's using Photosynthesis with the booster energy. We could either predict a fighting move and switch into Scarlet, or we can predict the ground move and go into Tauros. I think it's more likely he's going to use a fighting move. I don't know what type Headlong Rush is. I'm assuming a ground type. So we're just going to go into Tauros and use Trailblaze. The critical hit. So we're just going to go into Venomoth then. Quiver Dance. Alright, yeah, that's a game right here. We're just going to go into Kowtow Cleave. I should have just Sucker Punched. Again, my hatred towards Sucker Punch. Well, that is all the time that I'm going to dedicate to this. I kind of just made this team like really quickly, and it just kind of shows a lot of the new Pokemon are actually really good. More specifically, Shan Pao. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys for the Scarlet and Violet stream or streams, and Stan Shan Pao.